EP34, we are family. Our journey through introspection, self-determination, and harmony. Keep it right here on the Eye.
This Sunday, on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of Gangster Live.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency. This Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories. We change lives.
This Sunday, on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of Gangster Live.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency. This Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories. We change lives.
This Sunday, on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of Gangster Live.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency. This Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories. We change lives.
This Sunday on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
This Sunday on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
This Sunday on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
This Sunday on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec. And then I attended Senegal Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
This Sunday, on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec. And then I attended Senegal Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
This Sunday, on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec. And then I attended Senegal Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
This Sunday, on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories. We change lives.
This Sunday, on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories. We change lives.
This Sunday, on episode 34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency this Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories. We change lives.
34 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Welcome to the two-part series, From Death to Life in Prison.
I spent most of my time at Tunapuna. I went to Tunapuna EC school, and I went to Moncton Junior Sec, and then I attended St. Augustine Senior Com. I got suspended from school because of gangster life.
How can we convince our young men that making the wrong choices will not only cost them their future, but their lives as well?
I was convicted for murder at the age of 22. I spent 4.5 years on death row. I have been incarcerated for the past 33, going on 34 years. My name is Andrew Douglas. This is my story.
It is said that experience is the greatest teacher. Are we ready to learn from Andrew's journey? Then don't miss Eye on Dependency. This Sunday from 10 a.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories. We change lives.
Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Good morning.
And the world by extension, welcome to Dependency, right here on I-95.5 FM, live on the Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel. Good morning, Natasha.
Good morning. And we're also live on our Ion Dependency Instagram feed. So if you're a follower of Ion Dependency on Instagram, check us out. We are live there as well. Good morning to everyone, Trinidad and Tobago, to those of you tuned in online. We are starting a new series, a 2-part series this morning, and Garth will tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, well, we'll be spending some time with our institution for the next at least 3 Sundays. We have been planning a very long time now, and this is part of our Ready, Set, Grow program as well, because our children are getting ready to go back to school. And we decided to start this one with Andrew. As you heard in the promo, he went to prison when he was 22 years old. And we are preparing right now when school reopens for children who are transitioning from primary to secondary school. And the challenges that they have to face when they go to secondary school. Some get chewed up, some survive, some make it, some don't. And we know that. That's a fact. So this is how we are preparing you this year. Next Sunday, God's willing, we'll have in studio Miss Natasha de Leon. And I'm sure that name would ring a bell to most of you out there who followed news from way back when. She went to prison when she was 18 years old. So, and both of them for murder, Andrew and Natasha. So we will be, and then the following Sunday, then we have another feature with you from the prison as well. And of course, with the blessings of Commissioner Diopusad Ramuta, we thank him very much and his executive for allowing this to happen again. You know, we have a very wonderful relationship, thank God, with the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service. And we will continue to bring these programs so that you can be educated and take precaution.
Indeed. And as you mentioned, the Ready, Set, Grow program, as you know, our audience does sometimes include young persons, not as young as the Ready, Set, Grow transition students, but we are always making efforts to reach the ears and hearts and minds of young people on Iron Dependency, since we know that many of the topics that we discuss are preventative in nature. We want to prevent young people from making the wrong choices and reaching, and despite this, what their circumstance may be, to invite them to reach out to responsible adults to help them in whatever situation they find themselves in. So our message is one of prevention first and foremost, but also one of love and care for our young people, and for those persons who have found themselves in difficulty and find themselves in situations where they feel trapped, or they feel or they are persecuted, or in today's case actually convicted and sentenced to death for something that they have done. We would see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, and know that there's redemption. We are not here to condemn anyone for any crime that they've committed, but we understand that restoration is possible, and for most of the people who end up in prison, they will return to society.
Yes, and you be the judge this morning, folks. When we speak with Andrew, he'll be in studio, accompanied by officers of Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service. He'll be here with us, and we'll be joined online as well by a number of youngsters this morning. We'll let you know who they are in a while, and following which, we will have a brief chat with Pastor Kelly. Then we will also speak. We have a surprise for Andrew. We speak with his mom, who is overseas, but she will tell you how she feels about her son, what happened, and what she hopes for him for the future. We are hoping through this program we could continue to raise awareness for especially people like Andrew, and that they've done their time, and from what the work that you will see he has done in prison, including his artwork, he has restored himself, and he's a very humble guy. Gentle giant, we refer to him as. Huge guy, but very gentle, and one of the trustees of the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service. Very trusted and respected. So we're going to play a short Andrew Douglas poem. He did a poem. This video, we'll play it for you. That's video A. Video A, short man. Please, and then after that, we'll go to a break, and when we return, you will hear from Andrew Douglas. All right, so let's go to that, and we'll be right back. Listen to this.
Mr. Andrew Douglas, a young man who's going to share with you his experience. He'll probably give you some cautions as well.
This poem is a poem that came first in the prison and second in all the prisons. Right? It's a poem on my life. Once living a life of crime and fame, living a life of sorrow and pain, not knowing who I really was, I hungered and thirsted for a worthy cause. You know what I do? I took to the streets to find the answer, only to end up being a gangster. Having the influence of many, they'll do anything for money. Listen carefully. Crime, drugs, and all its ills. I said to myself, this can't be God's will. For friends I thought to me were there. Little did I know, they didn't care. Betrayal, envy, disrespect, and deceit. These are the characters out on the streets. It wasn't long before I'd known my fate. I allowed the enemy to use me as bait. Now charged with the crime I did commit, I'm not angry that society calls me a misfit, but realizing the harm and hurt that I have done, I'm seeking to right all that I did wrong. You know what I do? Finding my identity, that's what I did. Understanding God's purpose and His goodwill. Growing stronger and wiser each and every day. Making use of every program that comes my way. To rebuild and reshape my life, I must. In order to fulfill my life's purpose, I must rebuild what I have broken down. I must restore through restitution. Responsibility, accountability, given the opportunity, is what my heart desire to give back to society. But before I do this, I must say sorry for my irresponsibility. Now given the opportunity, I have started giving back to society. To restore is to give back, replace, and reconstruct. This is what I have vowed to develop. Seeking ways and means to build positively, mentally, educationally, and most of all, spiritually. Now that I'm going through my transformation, repaying the harm done is my sole solution. I must take responsibility for my action and balance the scale through restoration. Thank you.
You are Trinidad and Tobago's greatest asset in the fight against crime.
And so we're going to go to a break. We have our guests in studio as well as the officers from the prison service, but we're going to go to a break now and we'll be back with you with Andrew Douglas.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago, through the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, continues to develop and implement effective policies and procedures to prevent and suppress human trafficking. To date, the National Task Force has developed 2 national plans of action against the crime of trafficking in persons. Trinidad and Tobago adopts a 4-pronged approach in its response to human trafficking. 1. Effective identification of victims and witnesses. 2. Prevention of human trafficking. 3. Protection of victims and witnesses. And 4. Prosecution of suspected traffickers. In the Ministry of National Security, we established a specialized unit called the Counter-Trafficking Unit to lead and manage Trinidad and Tobago's response to human trafficking. The Counter-Trafficking Unit works closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Immigration Division, and international law enforcement agencies to aggressively and proactively investigate and prosecute suspected human traffickers. Human trafficking is a serious crime. Rest assured, the government of Trinidad and Tobago and its agencies remain committed in the fight against human trafficking and will respond with immediate effect when the need arises.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Hola, my name is Elena. Well, it's actually not my real name. You don't really care, do you? All you care about is once you pay your money to my boss that I look pretty, smell nice, smile for you, and let you have good time, enjoying yourself and doing to me whatever you want to do for the money you paid. What you don't see or know is that I don't get any part of the money you paid. My boss takes all of it. I am forced to work, taking as many clients as my boss tells me to. I am beaten, made to take drugs, and I cannot leave this kind of work on my own. I am a victim of human trafficking. Please, por favor, help me.
On Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
All right, thank you for staying with us, and those of you who are joining us, thank you very much. We are live and alive in studio. We have the youngster here in studio with us, Andrew Douglas, accompanied by Officer Steele and Agard and other officials of the prison. But the object of the exercise here for you this morning is to educate you. First, a little bio on the young man we're going to speak with this morning. So we'll go to that.
Receive an Excellence Award in recognition for the most outstanding change agent. He also graduated top of his life skill class and was presented with the Top Student Award. Andrew has been an art tutor and an assistant art tutor to Mr. Bill Trotman's art class for years. Douglas tutored with the Prison Fellowship and Teachers Empowerment Program for a number of years. He also participated as a gospel singer in Carifesta 9 in 2006. He also worked as a tailor, welfare assistant, gym instructor, and in the orientation program for the new committals. Currently, he performs in the capacity as the infirmary orderly for the past 10 years. Douglas is also an announcer, broadcaster, and DJ with Rise Maximum Radio for over 11 years. He did a number of courses including leadership, empowerment, team building, counseling, conflict resolution, mediation skills, cognitive skills, personal management, community integration, Bible courses, just to name a few. Douglas has obtained a certificate of appreciation in recognition for his contribution to the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking with the National Drug Council in 2007. He is a founding member and pioneer of the MSP Film and Theatre Program, and the list goes on. And now I would like to present to you Andrew Andy Paul Douglas.
All right.
Very impressive. Our audience on Facebook and YouTube are expressing their immense pride in all the things that you've accomplished while you've been behind bars, Andrew. So congratulations on behalf of us and our audience on Independence.
Andrew Douglas, good morning.
Good morning. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Almighty God for this blessed opportunity to be in studio with you all, Garth and Natasha. Thank our Commissioner of Prisoners for making this possible, and all the officers that took part or played part in allowing me to be here this morning.
Andrew, let's go to the beginning. We have a lot of youngsters listening to you this morning, and we'll shout them out in a while. And this was deliberate because we want to give them a chance to appreciate where they are now, despite how hard things may be and how challenging it is for young people, especially now. About you.
Yeah, well, God, especially the youngsters who are listening right now, I just want to share a little of myself with you all, so you all will get it just as to, the do's, the don'ts, not to come into the prison system. In other words, as a young fella, I grew up at Tunapuna, originally from Manzanilla. Most of my family from Manzanilla. And I came down to Tunapuna, and it was really tough to make that transition from country to town life. As a result of that, I was to get myself involved in certain activities, and namely gang activities, namely petty theft, things that was really displeasing to young men at that point in time. However, as a result of me utilizing the gangs in Trinidad, I end up in prison.
Now, before we go there, mother and father.
Yeah. Well,
growing up with them, how was that?
Yeah, I never grew up with my father. I grew up with my mom. My mom worked very hard to maintain me, to manage me.
Did you know your father at all?
Yeah, I knew my father, but I never grew up with him. I never spent time with him. He wasn't around. Hence the reason for me going on the streets and getting involved in different gang. Probably if my father was there, he may have been able to talk to me in a manner in which, to guide me along that path.
But did your mom try?
My mom tried very hard. But I was hardened. Number one, I didn't used to listen. Number two, and I tell myself I wanted my own way. And I think that sounds familiar to a lot of those young people who are listening right now. As a result of that, you will do anything to fit in to your peers or to people on the streets because you're looking for that father figure. And sometimes you go on the street looking for it.
Now, you said you were kicked out of school for gang activity. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, I used to hang out with a gang back in the day called the Black Panthers. right? And we were very aggressive, violent in some way, like when we go parties, always fighting. So in school, when the teacher and them talking to me, I tell myself, well, them can't tell me anything. You know, I never used to want to listen to the teachers. Sometimes they tell me I go in class, I go in the class. I'm really not taking them on because, you know, I just tell myself I was my own man, right? Fortunately, under all of that, I still used to do my little studies because I can't go home and, you know, without my subjects or without doing anything because I have mom to deal with, right? Because of the activities that I got myself involved in and send back my teachers, fighting with some of the teachers, some of the students, I end up getting suspended a number of times. And then eventually they threw me out of the school. Yeah, they threw me out of school.
So was there, apart from your mom, were there any other relatives or adults in your life who would have tried to intervene or to provide some kind of guidance or assistance to your mom?
Yeah, there was my aunt, there was my uncle, now deceased. They used to try to guide me. Funny thing is that when my uncle is concerned, when I was going primary school, there was a lot of bullies in the school. And when you come to school with your little 25 cent back then, 25 cent was plenty. You could get real snacks for that.
Yeah.
Right? And they used to meet you on this back step and take it from your clout and you take your little ball head or your little muff. I still maintaining muff. Yeah? Yeah, so they used to clout you and take your little money and thing. And one day, this bully, this guy, he took my money. And I was like tired of that, you know, because I mean, every time you come and you're going up to say like you have to pay some kind of dues or something. So I went home and I told my uncle. And my uncle told me, he said, don't tell your mother. He said, but anybody lash you, lash them back and run home. I said, okay. I a bit extreme. Anything I do, I just do with a passion. So when I went to school, I waiting for him. I put a little stone in her socks and I waiting for him. I went up this step. He tried to bully me, to take my money and thing, push me. I hit him. And from that...
Hold on. Now, you are a big guy, right?
I wasn't
so
big at that time.
Oh, you were small back then.
Yeah, I was slim, very slim back then. I wasn't so big at that time. Yeah, I was small. I was
because
not
I'm picturing this guy had to be real big.
Yeah. He was a first primary student. He was big.
Okay.
And I was very thin back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, primary school. Right? And...
well, so you rode up a sock.
Yeah, and that was it. And and you see the thing about it, after that, I gained the respect of a lot of the young men around because he used to bully everybody.
Right.
And well, you know, when you don't understand it, you get carried away by that. So I end up going to Moncton Junior Sec, and well, myself, I had two other brethren who were with me from primary school straight to Junior Sec, and Junior Sec, the bullies we used to. You know, bully the bullies back then. You know, so anybody taking advantage of anybody, we used to be like standing there, you know, for them. And then, well, I had my run-ins with the principal in Moncton because, again, you know, you're arrogant, you're hasty, you know, you come into class late, sometimes you break in beach, so there's a consequence to these things. So when you reach back in the school or you reach back in the class, you had to go to the principal office and you had to explain why you break beach or why you came late or why you didn't come or why you have a knife and these things.
So I guess your mother was a frequent visitor to the school as well.
Well, and I used to tell my mom. I couldn't have my mom come in to school. I mean, once or twice as she came. But I had a relative that I used to ask to come. Yeah, and they used to come. And you see, the thing about it, even though I was given a little trouble, my academics was still,
right.
Yeah. So based on that, the teachers used to give me chances.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Mr. Andrew Douglas, who was sentenced to death. Of course, we'll get to that in a while. Those of you joining us on Facebook and YouTube, we thank you very much. Those of you on radio, please get your children around the radio because we were just speaking about, Andrew, we were just speaking about the transition from primary to secondary school. Every time I speak with someone from going to secondary school who ends up in prison, they make secondary school sound like a literal battlefield sometimes. Is it that?
It can be.
Is it that treacherous, navigating?
remember, it's different environment, different people from different areas, different lifestyle. Some guys will come, they grow up tough, they grow up rough in their area, and remember they come to the same school. So one of the problems I believe we're having today, especially in the school, I just want to cut across a bit, is that, okay, your parents bring you up in a certain way, but then when you go to school, you meet in your peers, which with a different lifestyle. So when you meet your peers with a different lifestyle, okay, well, you will have this guy in your class. You might choose him as your friend, but his life is like, thieving. His life is like fighting. His life is like, breaking beach and doing. So, you're mixing with other people from different environment, different ethnic group, different religion, and that's how it goes. So sometimes you might meet somebody and you find, the way they speak to the teacher, the way how they speak, somebody might gravitate to them because you find strength in them. Yeah, so you can become strong too. And that's what's going on in the schools, I believe, right now. Since then to now. But now I believe it's a bit worse.
Yeah, no, I agree with that the secondary school environment can be one that is challenging because, of course, young people are still trying to discover themselves, learn about themselves and their identity and where they fit in the world. So when you meet people who are different to you, who live a different lifestyle, who may have things or access to things that you don't, your natural curiosity would be, hey, I want to be part of that. I would like to experience that and take the risk because we know young people are risk takers. Take the risk to jump in that.
So the schools that you went to, what was the reason for leaving them? Were you asked to leave or?
Well, passed for St. Augustine after Moncton Junior Sec.
Right.
All right. And St. Augustine, that's the time I got involved with Panthers. Well, I met the Kiss gang from when I was going Moncton. They used to hang in Corep. All right.
Gang?
Kiss, a gang they call the Kiss gang. All right. They joined the Panthers after some years. They connected, and I think in the gang in Trinidad back then was about 100 and something. We most used to party and fight, When I attended St. Augustine, again, I was unruly, all right? And I got involved with fighting with the teachers, police. I was kind of really out of time, and as a young fella, I never used to, you can't lash me, you can't tell me anything that don't make sense to me.
But
at
then
that point in
relationship
time.
with your mom, how was that going then?
Well, mad respect for mom. I can't go wrong with mom with that.
So when you go home, you say play Saint, right?
Of course. And that's what happening right now today. A lot of parents don't know their children. My mom didn't know me. She didn't really know me to that extent. I grew up in a particular way. My country life totally different. Right? And tongue, it come like you have to live a double standard life. When you go out on the streets, it's a different ballgame. When you're home, well, it's the best home. You can't play the fool home with your parents when they're teaching you a certain. But then when you go out there, in order to function around your peers or around people, you have to be a different character.
Yep. You have to put on the mask.
Yes.
So what did your mom do, if you don't mind me asking?
My mom used to work. She worked in different places in order to support, as a single parent, in order to support herself, myself, books. Now and again, she used to send me by my father to get money to buy books, stuff like that. He just used to give me the money, and well, that's it. I never developed no relationship with my father to the extent. A little before I got locked up, I was trying to get to know him. I came into the prison at the age of 22. Okay, so around that time, trying to find myself, and I was trying to get to know him a little better and thing. Yeah, but that didn't work out too well.
Sorry, no, just to continue on that. So she was, I guess, trying to get accustomed to town life as well.
Yeah,
so maybe that's why she was not sure how to handle her son.
I wouldn't say she was trying to get accustomed to town life. What I would say that she was working very hard to try to support herself, her family, and as mom, she's a grown woman, so she had already probably recognized how to move around in town. But I used to stay by my grandparents at a period of time. So when I came down to Napuna to live with mom, it was a bit different, like I said. Yeah, it was different.
No, you said something that was that stuck with me for a while. You said that you had to be one way in school and one way at home.
Yeah.
And how was it challenging first, were you the leader or you were led by someone in this gang?
Okay, at one point in time, I was a follower. And when growing up, then remember I told you after a while with the guy who end up with the altercation and I busted and I run home. Right. As a result of that, because most of the students then went Monctop with me, and then some of them graduated to St. Augustine. So yes, at that point in time, I became a leader to the extent where I could have let guys do things for me. Yeah, it was an influence because okay, if you're in a school, right, and people advantage you, right, they advantage you all the time, and somebody come and stand up on your behalf or stand up for you. You will gravitate to them because you see in somebody who dared to support you, to help you, to fight your battles for you. To protect you, right? And from Monctop to St. Augustine, the guys who left Monctop with me, some of them end up in St. Augustine with me. So then I had a little, as I say, clip, nowadays clip. Right? And we had a lot of respect in the school.
No, I could imagine that you always walk around the school with your chest in the air because nobody can touch you all, and of course you all have the girls.
We were simple, It's just that we knew and people knew us. It's just that once you're trying to advantage or you're coming our space where we deal with it, we used to go to school like normal, take part in the different subjects. We had football, we had hockey, we had gymnastics. It was like normal, but it's just that we never really. People knew us. They knew us because they know we stand up for them. All right? So it wasn't a pride to say, well, pride. We're just normal.
Right. If you just join us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Mr. Andrew Douglas, who's accompanied by officers Steele and Agard and other personnel from the prison service, who is telling his life story for you this morning. We hope something resonates so far with you.
We have a couple of people who have some comments. Gary Romaine, I don't know if that name is anything.
I know Gary. He's a real schoolmate.
He's on Facebook, yes. Your
Gary.
former schoolmate, Gary
Romaine.
Gary Romaine.
Oh, Romaine, okay.
And also someone is talking about Tunapuna EC and a Mr. McDonald or Mr. Doyle.
Yes, those were my teachers.
Yes. And also we have the RM from Southwest Region.
So
Shastri Gobind Singh, who is listening as well.
Okay. Also welcome Alison, Camille from Central Region. So we have some young some CCC listening to you this morning as well, right?
Yes.
So but did any other teacher ever look at you and say, you will make a jail sometime in your life, it has some teachers who could predict them things.
But sometimes it always do have the kind of meaning and intent that you think, but still.
Not in those words. Those are more modern. Those words are like more modern. But back in then they used to say if I continue the way I'm going, I'll find myself in trouble.
Right.
That was the term used back then. You're not listening, you'll find yourself in trouble.
No, let's talk about teachers before we move on. Now, people tend to think that the teaching profession is just you go to school, you teach, and you come home. Teachers have a lot to deal with, and what parents don't know about.
Teachers are our second parent. That's how I see it. Our second parent, because some of the things that you wouldn't exhibit home, you will exhibit in your class.
Absolutely.
And your teachers will know and see, and you may talk to you and speak to you. I did some real foolishness in class. In class, that...
the teacher listening, so go ahead.
Yeah,
but we all did. Let's admit.
Tell us some of yours.
Some of these things are really despicable. And I'm saying that teachers they are like our second peer. They always try to guide us, at least in my school and at my time, they always try to correct me. I was really miserable and really out of timing as a young man because I didn't understand a lot of things. And I always longed for a father. I always longed for that male figure in my life to guide me because my peers had it.
Now, would you give your mother credit for trying to instill all the good values in you as a child?
Of course. I mean, that's why I am who I am today still, because I still used to go back as to what she used to tell me. Son, you're not listening to my son. Don't do that. Son, don't do that. And you can never not give your mom credit for her bringing you up, because the choice is not hers, You made the choice not to listen.
So
I made the choice not to listen. I was hardened. So, I was hardened.
Was there any teacher or that recognized some value in you? That's something that you were good at. That's something that you encouraged to do. Apart from saying, "Don't do this," were you encouraged to say, "Well, do this"? Instead, because you're good at it?
All my teachers. I used to draw. I used to do technical drawing, drafting, and woodwork back then.
Right.
I was good at athletic, like running. I used to run a triple jump back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to triple jump. And one thing, I used to play football. And the Green Machine, St. Augustine,
Right.
I went to try to make the team. And I couldn't make the team because of how I used to behave. Because the then principal said that he don't want me to embarrass the football team.
Who was the principal
Which
then?
at that point in time I was like crazy. What was this man really saying? I good at football. I mean,
You remember who was the principal then?
Yeah, that was Mr. Dongna.
Oh.
Dongna, yeah.
Oh.
He was my principal.
Famous name.
A real nice person
Yeah.
to me.
Right.
However, again, the problem was me.
Mhm.
Right? So he said, yeah, you could practice, but you wouldn't be able to make the team.
Right.
He said, because you always fighting, always get myself involved in something, so you don't want the embarrassment. Back then, I was really angry. And as a matter of fact, because of that rejection, I made a business. I don't care. That was my attitude back then. Right? It's only as I grew up and went into life skill programs and started doing my studies and I get to recognize and understand the damage I was doing then and the damage that I did.
All right,
That's an excellent point. Before you move on that point, I just wanted to stick on that because we often have a perception that sport is the answer to take young people away from crime, but it's more than just the activity.
Yeah.
You have to have the support to participate in the way that you should. It's just your discipline, your conduct. It has to be, an all-around thing. You can't just say, well, take youths off the street, let them play some football. That's not enough.
It have to have life skills in those programs as part of because back then it didn't have that. They just put you to box, they put you to play hockey, it didn't really have no. They tell you about the sport, what the sport is, and give you a bit of history on it. However, I believe now we need a lot of life skills in sports today.
Yes.
Now, we're going to take a break, and when we return, we're going to find out what was the last straw that got you kicked out of school and that led you to be sentenced to death. It's a serious thing, and I pray that somebody learned something from you here this morning, Andrew. And we'll also show his paintings. He has paintings, and Mr. Egard and Mr. Steele put together a nice little package for him too as well to show you. So we need to press forward. All right, so let's go to that break. And when we return, Andrew will take us to the dark side of life. We'll be back.
Listen now, I has noticed something out. Them new people on the Bobby Road there. Where's that? Girl, the man that he passing up and down in front of here with a set of woman.
I really noticed some woman living there, And they can't even say as much as good morning.
Well, listen now, I wonder if it's human trafficking. You think it's that?
So, how can you spot and identify perpetrators and victims of trafficking? Many victims are found living and working together in the same place and sleep in shared and inappropriate spaces. Victims work excessively long hours. They often sleep in the daytime and work long nights. They are often escorted everywhere they go and may appear to be malnourished. They may show signs of physical abuse, drug and alcohol use, and may also appear withdrawn, fearful, or intimidated. Victims who are migrants are often not in possession of their identity or immigration documents and have irregular immigration status. Perpetrators can be male or female and may appear to be managing or controlling the victims. And they may even at times appear to be the victim's best friend, boyfriend, or employer.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago, through the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, continues to develop and implement effective policies and procedures to prevent and suppress human trafficking. To date, the National Task Force has developed 2 national plans of action against the crime of trafficking in persons. Trinidad and Tobago adopts a 4-pronged approach in its response to human trafficking. 1. Effective identification of victims and witnesses. 2. Prevention of human trafficking. 3. Protection of victims and witnesses. And 4. Prosecution of suspected traffickers. In the Ministry of National Security, we established a specialized unit called the Counter-Trafficking Unit to lead and manage Trinidad and Tobago's response to human trafficking. The Counter-Trafficking Unit works closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Immigration Division, and international law enforcement agencies to aggressively and proactively investigate and prosecute suspected human traffickers. Human trafficking is a serious crime. Rest assured, the government of Trinidad and Tobago and its agencies remain committed in the fight against human trafficking and will respond with immediate effect when the need arises.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
All right, thank you for staying with us, folks. Steele and Agard, we all right so far?
No complaints.
It's
a
pleasant good morning to each and everyone.
All right.
But before we go, I must say good morning to the Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Devprasad Ramuta, and his executives, and also to Mr. Ricardo Das. He is now our Assistant Commissioner of Prisons, Public Relations and Communications. He's locked on as well, listening to us this morning.
Right.
So good morning.
I would like to morning to Mr. Sherwin Bruce too.
Yes.
Homie. Good morning to you.
And of course,
Sir?
Mr. Prince is listening as well.
Mr.
Good
Prince too.
morning to Mr.
All right, Mr. Prince, my schoolmate. All right, so everybody's here. And folks, just to let you know, Andrew lost a son while he was in prison too, through violent means. So we'll tell you about that too. This journey here is going to be very interesting for those of you youngsters listening out there and your parents. Now, Andrew, the shoe dropped and you were kicked. What was the reason for that in school, to getting kicked out of school? Finally, they had enough of you.
What had happened is I had got an altercation with a police officer.
With a police officer?
Yeah, ended up in a fight with a police officer on the bus route.
Over what? Do you remember what the argument was about?
Yeah, put a log across the bus route while a bus was speeding coming down.
For what, Andrew?
We were just miserable at it at those days.
In your school uniform?
Yeah.
A log?
Yeah. You just wanted to see what would happen when the bus passed over the log.
Oh my God!
So you expected to happen? I mean,
no. Well, that you see, that's
a lamppost-sized log or just a normal?
All right, size log, not big for the bus that can, but we just wanted to see, me and some other guys were just walking up and we saw the log at the side of the road and we said, well, if we put the log in the center of the road, let me see how it would react.
React.
Yeah, how the bus will react.
Right.
And I want to say this, I mean, we may laugh, it's a serious thing because the devil really find work for idle hands. Right? Back then we were doing anything. There were a number of other guys who, one is an officer now, I would not call his name.
Right.
He have changed his life around. And the other one, he died, and another one gone foreign. Right? We were just like existing.
So the bus ran into the log?
Yeah, and the same time a police vehicle was passing and saw. And we ran. But the uniform, so they came in the school looking for us. And because of I used to get problems in school, the first name pop up when the police came was my name.
Right.
And they called me in the office, and while they called him in the office, I had a little wrangle-tangle with the police officer, and,
In the school?
Yeah. Well, they try to,
They try to
it was,
restrain you, or they
it was
put you
little,
to sit down?
The way how they come at me, they came at me in a little aggression, and I just, they just grab, and I just push them off and thing, and well, that caused a big thing. Went in the principal office, they put me to sit down, they told the principal what happened, thing. Of course, I was lying, I denied. Eventually, I ended up telling them, and I explained to them, the log fall from a branch from a tree where was hanging over by UE there, and which is true. Right, and the branch was on the side of the road. Part was in the road, but then we just pushed it more in the road to see, the reaction.
At the bus.
Yeah.
I like what you're saying, the reaction of the bus, like you were expecting the bus to jump over the log, the reaction.
Yeah.
That's the word that killed me.
That is one of the things, and I guess the principal was fed up. Let me say this too. Most of the things that happened in the school, they used to blame me, and some of the things they blaming me, I didn't do.
Right.
I used to own up to the things that I did. Right? And, again, it's not an excuse. I'm not happy about it now as I'm a grown man. I have learned. Okay? But that was the final straw that got me kicked out of school. Right. From there, I went to work different factories. I always know, my family always know somebody somewhere. And I went to work in like Cannons, National Flour Mill, Pan American Standard Brand, and then Dude. Back then was Dude Works.
Before you go on, Andrew, what was your mom's reaction to you being expelled?
My mom was furious. She was furious. She was really furious because she tried so hard with me. And it seemed like if she was failing. And she was really, really furious. But at the end, I'm her only child. I have no brother, I have no sister. So, she said, well, I had to go and look for work. And she knew one or two people, so I got jobs from one or two people. It was off and on, though. And then I had a cousin working in Dude. And he said, well, come, and I started working in Dude. And with Dude was off and on. Sometimes 3 days in, 3 days out, and or fortnightly. And then Lid came into play, Lid. And I started working head office in Tanapuna in Lid.
And how did you feel as a young man kicked out of school, have to make your way in the working world? Was it a good, an ego-boosting thing for you to know that, you're a man now, so you have to go and work, or how did you feel about it?
It was really tough because remember now I'm not going to school, and remember I had to provide now,
right?
Because mom's struggling hard by herself. So now I have to contribute because at home it makes sense. And moms, country people, fathers, they are.
Yes.
You can't just stay home and do nothing.
Correct.
Yeah, and then you're a young man. So you have to you mess up. Okay, here we go on. Go and get some work and thing and try and support. So I started working and started helping support my mom and I. And every weekend I still used to put aside money to get clothes, fresh clothes, and to go parties and stuff with my brethren and they back then. And when we go parties again, remember some of as an extension from the gang, some Panthers. So when you go party, you're meeting these guys, you're meeting the gang, so you're wilding out, fights and all kind of, things displeasing that will cause the police to arrest you.
And during all that time you had a son, you managed to get a son?
Well, after, yeah. When my son...
No, go ahead.
When my son came into the picture, into my life, then that's when I started to really take it down. Because now I have responsibility. And remember, I'm growing. I'm getting older. Right. So that means I'm getting more mature in certain aspect. And seeing how my mom brought me up in a single parent struggling, I didn't want my son to struggle. So I started to take it down and started to save money to support my son.
So what happened, Andrew?
Wait, before that, stick up it again. While you were working, how did you feel how did you perform in the work environment? Did you give any problems?
No,
like
no, no,
how
no.
you did in school?
No.
Or?
So you were disciplined?
No. Yeah, I was really disciplined. There was a certain time when, in order to get discipline, I went to learn to fight, boxing and martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for the discipline.
Right.
Right? And matter of fact, since that, I don't think, to now, I never really act the fool like I did when I was going to school. Right? The discipline, so it helped it in a certain way.
But you were lineman with the same influential group?
Yes, at that point in time as lineman.
And what happened? How did you end up?
Well, it was different stages of my life. There were a certain time when hanging out with these guys from school, left school still hanging out with them, started work. So sometimes when went to party with a lineman thing, I had to work. So the friends start locking off. And then the last job I was doing, I was working Intercept Security. I was the first batch in Intercept. And I got thrown out the work too in Intercept because of discipline. Right? And I went back to work and Lid laid me off. And when Lid laid me off, not because there was plenty of people got laid off back then. All right? And I didn't have any money. All the little savings I utilized, and I needed money, and that's what led me to a life of going to commit this crime.
Now, before we go to that part of it, because I didn't hear you speak about with your gang and your crew, were there any drugs involved at all? Alcohol?
There were drugs, but I never used to take drugs. Let me just say, I utilized marijuana on occasion, but it wasn't for me. I more used to keep fit. Used to be exercising regularly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I go out, I probably was the only sober guy in the crew.
Right.
Yeah, because fight. You had to look out for the guys too. Yeah.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and you're listening to Andrew Douglas. He's telling us about his journey to death row. And he's going to get to the part now where he's going to tell us about how he happened to commit that crime that got him sentenced to death. What happened, Andrew? So
myself and two other guys, we embarked on a robbery, really to get the car. And I panicked. And the owner of the car got shot.
No, explain that.
It was like we got the car. With the person in the car, they were saying, no, don't kill me.
They were a normal person driving a car or a taxi or what?
A normal person.
Mm-hmm.
And a taxi. And
so you all flagged on the taxi, jumping, right.
Yeah. And I told them, I said, we don't want to kill nobody. We just wanted the car.
Right.
And
what you wanted the car for?
To sell, to get money.
To sell it?
Yeah, to get money.
Go ahead.
Right? And I remember all this time now I have my son in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
My son was in the picture. So, and I was also staying by some cousins. Right?
Your mom was still here or she had left?
No, mom was still here. Mom was still in the country, yeah. Mom was still in the country. Yeah, so when we got the car, the guy came out of the car, all right? The gun that I had fell. And while searching for the car, while searching for the gun under the car, the gun bounced and went under the seat. So I feeling and got the gun. And
this was day or night, sorry?
At night.
Right.
So when I came out, I would have expected the guy to run or something, but like he was outside the car. And I came out and to me, like I saw his hand moving towards me, right? And I had my hand over the trigger guard, and I panicked, and it went on the guard, and the guy got shot.
Now, to get to this, the intention was who got the gun? So one of your colleagues had the gun?
Yeah, I got the gun from a brethren before we left.
From a brethren?
Yeah.
Is that older person?
Yes, he was.
And so what, you rented the gun then?
No, didn't rent. All of us at a point in time used to stay in an apartment, and these guys used to go out and rob and thing. And I never used to go and rob with them. But this point in time, I needed money.
Right.
So I decided to take a chance. And I took that chance, and this is what happened.
So this was a pistol or
the
revolver?
First time was a revolver.
Revolver.
Yeah.
And
was that the first time you had used a firearm and discharged a firearm?
Yeah. We had some training with firearms before, but not to to go and run these things. I used to work in Tessa.
Oh, security.
Yeah.
Right. You get me worried if I were you. Right. So so the guy ran into you, you squeeze the trigger.
Yeah, and I panic. I just as I saw him coming in, I just
instinct.
Reflex. Reflex.
So what happened when that body dropped now?
Well, I didn't know he got shot because the place was dark.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I saw him drop. I didn't know he was dead, in other words. And, we ran. We didn't get the car because I think he pelted away the keys.
Right.
Yeah, he threw the keys away when he came out of the car. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around how that particular... Because, I mean, you'd expect the person to run. And so
I'm trying to picture the area. We all were off-road?
We were off-road on a dark street.
So you took him off road?
Yeah.
What part of Trinidad
that was Curab, McEnroy Street, Curab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
McEnroy Street, Curab.
And so you all, after that, you all...
We ran. And the whole plan failed, right? So we just ran. And we ran from Curab to Tunapuna. And, I asked the guys and them who I were with in the car if they see if the man died or if they observe anything. And no, I saw the guy fell to the ground. And they say, well, they don't know. So I put on the radio listening, and then I heard that the guy died. And when that guy died, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. Like reality, everything just came into play. And I just get sick. I got really sick, real sick. I could not eat for days. And when I tuned on the radio the morning, I heard about the death.
And you must have been replaying that episode in your head a million times to try and figure out.
For years until I gave my life to Christ.
So you went over that. Did you give up yourself or what happened? How did they find you now?
I didn't give up.
Did you tell your mom anything?
No. My mom didn't know that side of my life. My mom didn't know anything.
Uh-huh.
No, she didn't know anything. When we were staying by the guys and thing, there was a elder man who was in charge of the place. So I told him what happened. And he said, boy, you had to go to the police. I said, I had to go to the police. I said, well, okay. But I had other plans because, a man died by my hands. And, to get locked up, and it's not to say I go to kill the person or anything like that. So one day I left and I went back up in the country to lie low, so to say. Mm-hmm. And one day they started to pay. And I came down to see if they was paying in Lid. And because I needed money, because we didn't, And while I was on the priority bus route in Curab itself, a police officer who knows us, who knows my parents and knows me, stopped me and tell me they have me on inquiries in the police station. They want to carry me for inquiries. I said, well, I'll come up because I was heading to Shoguanas. I said, I'll come up. He said, no, you have to go now. I said, okay, and they put me in the car and that was it.
So what gave them this impression was you?
They hold one of the guys. I got arrested 7 months after.
7, okay. So that means...
So they held one of the guys before for another crime.
Uh-huh.
And they put him on ID parade. But apparently, like his other murders, they hold him for. So he say he had taken he know not murder, but he know of a murder, which was my case.
So you already was?
Yeah.
And then I guess he would be described as police tend to do, known to the police because of your history
was
as
known. He was
you
known.
know you.
Me? No, the police never knew anything about me. I had and let me say this, I had a police brethren who used to tell me what was going on. Tell me there was the police looking to lock me up and things, so I knew that they was coming for me. But remember, I was lying low. I only come out to see if I could get some money because I didn't want to go and rob nobody again because what happened the first time. So I came to see if they was paying, and they wasn't paying. So I said, well, I'm going to go down Shoguanas because we had a house in Shoguanas. I said, I'm going to go down Shoguanas and got some clothes and stuff like that. And while going down there, I was arrested.
Did you ever think that you were going to be caught for this crime, or were you planning to turn yourself in?
Yeah, after 7 months, you tell yourself, well, okay, maybe.
I was trying my best not to get caught. Yeah, I was trying my best not to get caught. But I'll tell you something. What was strange is that I went by, throughout that time when I was keeping law, I went by a brethren. And I don't know how he knew. I never tell him a thing. The two guys who I were with, they're not from Tanapuna area. They're from South. And I don't know how he knew. And he actually told me, say, hey, well, you are a spiritual leader too. So he said, hey, police looking for you for murder. Just so. I don't know how he knew. And he totally away from the group or the area that I used to stay. So it is as if I was to get hold and was to come into the system. Well, let me say this. Prison never break me. As I sought forgiveness one time. All right? I sought forgiveness one time, but I was in a mess. I was in a mess in the sense that I didn't have an identity. I didn't know who I was. Right? When I came into the prison, a lot of schoolmates, officers, they start talking to me and telling me, boy, you was really looking to head that way. We know that you would end up here. That's in the prison, right? We know that you would end up here with the things that you were doing. And we used to hear things about you. But you're not that person. So we know that you're following friends. That's what they told me. Because like I tell you, remember, even though with all the foolishness, I was still in my little academics with some of these officers, prison officers. Some of them were schoolmates.
So let's go to that day when how quick was your trial? You said how long you stayed on remand?
I stayed on remand from 1990 to 1993.
What was your mother doing in the meantime? How did
she was struggling to come and visit me, support me. Or she always tell me pray. And my mom suffered with high blood pressure, so she was in a mess.
Oh yeah.
And every time to come to see her only son in the system, I used to have to be strong for her. I never used to want to cry in front of her. Yeah, I used to try to keep up that strong self. So so even if she's crying, I cry inside, not on the outside. But when she leave, I will bawl like a baby.
Now, when did it really hit you? When the police officer put you in the car to take you for questioning, or when they put those handcuffs on you and say, okay, you're going to remand? When did it really come home?
When the man got shot.
Since then?
Yeah. One time I said I couldn't eat. Everything like reality just hit me, all the foolishness I used to, everything just come and play.
And by then you would have probably tell yourself, I should have listened.
Yeah. And I guess that's why my transition in the system was so a little easier in the sense that I had come to terms with, hey, I mess up.
Yeah.
So Natasha, what I'm really hearing here is that you really needed this to really bring you back.
Wake himself up, just like a nuclear blast for
yeah, so this is why it wasn't hard for you now to conform
that is why
when you
I
got to
say
prison.
That the prison never break, man.
So the judge, who was the judge? Remember who sentenced you?
The judge was Judge Diyal Singh, Justice Diyal Singh.
Diyal Singh?
Yeah.
And what did he say to you? Because the trial, how long did the trial go on for?
Yeah, like I say, from 2000, 90 to 93, about 2 to 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. Well, he did what he's supposed to do. He read me out.
Was jury or judge?
Jury.
Okay.
Yeah, jury. But he just did his part. He read me out and he said, I'll be taken to a place until, till be hung until death. Yeah. I can't remember the full length of what this. I try not to remember it.
Basically, you said that you're going to die in prison.
End up on death row.
Was there any involvement from the victim's family? Did you have a chance to reconcile with them?
I tried. Well, after a period of time on death row, I tried, repented. I asked God to forgive me for every single thing that I did, every wrong thing I did. I forgive myself. I forgive my mom. I forgive everybody that had harmed me.
What about the family of the...
Yeah, I forgave them. Forgave the deceased family. And I sorted to write to them. Or one officer say, boy, that makes sense you're doing that because people don't forgive and thing. I say, yeah, but I have to do that.
Right.
That forgiveness is for me.
Yeah.
Right.
I need to forgive, right? And I need to write and say sorry, whether they are separate or not. Right. So I wrote 1 or 2 letters. I got the address from disposition. And well, of course, I never get no response. But what I do, when I start my transformation and I go to programs, utilize the time either on television or either on radio to say sorry. Any program I go, I say sorry. Even in a poem that I wrote, and I think I heard it playing when I came in, I say sorry.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and thank you for joining us. We are speaking with Andrew Douglas, who's telling us about his journey to death row. And it's really eye-opening for a lot of you youngsters out there who mommy talk to you over and over and over and over. But who's the number you call when police arrested you? Mommy.
Yeah, mommy, oh gosh.
Yeah, yes, that's how it happens, you know. Mommy, you jump in, my man, oh God, I good, then for that, and from the time the police arrest you, mom, number you call. So sad, eh? All the big wheels play.
Yeah,
you know?
For real.
So you were sentenced to death.
Yes.
By hanging.
And this is why I was asking about the victim in the process of the case, trial. Because the trial, yes, because I feel like in the justice system we do not take enough account of the victims of crime in terms of determining the sentence that is applied. Yeah. So was the victim's family involved at all in the trial process?
Well, remember in the trial, somebody had to come and say, well, this was my brother, or right. Well, on that aspect,
like
I don't know
where the impact statement.
A witness to the deceased.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I know of. I don't know otherwise if they play any other part in respect to it. But back then, now probably they might be utilized doing that. But back then, somebody came to identify the body and the brother or whoever it was at that time.
No, Andrew, from those words, you are sentenced to death by hanging. When because somebody asked a question on Facebook here a while ago, if you weren't caught, would you have given up yourself, or you would have just continue to live a normal life like nothing happened?
No, well, nobody doesn't want to get catch. First, let me say, nobody doesn't want to get catch when they commit a crime.
Understood.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
would you have given up
being real
yourself?
with that. No, nobody. So, even though I felt I was sick and I didn't like what I do, I don't think I would have done that.
Right.
Being honest, I don't think I would have done that.
Nice. But when you heard the words, you'll be hung by the neck until death.
Yeah, well, again.
You didn't PS up in the court?
No. I heard, like I say, from the time.
I mean, serious?
No, but
some people do that. Some people, some people. Some people.
At the age of 22?
But I also, I mean, how did it, I mean, that sentence for, yes, it's murders, but how it reached that sentence? Because I don't know. I mean,
they sentence you to condemn you. Right? Then you have your trials to take place, and if you lost all your appeals and things, well, then they sentence you to death.
Right.
But they sentence you, they say they can in a place, until your appeal's done and, to be hanged. Or, I don't know how it goes, something like that. Right? But you see, what, like I was saying, what make it a little easier for me is that from time the person died, I recognize it. One time I did something wrong. Yeah. And I recognize that is a life that was stuck and I could never get back a life. And I understood then and there that the law have to take its place. So it was a bit easier for me. Now remember, within that time I've grown, I've matured. I was working Intercept. I no longer work at Intercept. So, it was a different level of maturity. Soldiers used to train us back then. So it was a different level of maturity. So the law is if somebody kills somebody, they're to die by hanging, right? So I started to make amends one time. I started to come to terms. Because remember, even though I grew up in a family, I used to go to church and stuff like that. Like I say, even though I go to church and go to school, the life on the street was totally different.
Yep.
Right? So I still had moral values and standards because my mom brought me up in that way. My grandparents, my aunts, they brought me up with moral values and standards.
Yep.
Yeah?
And we had to step on the gas because we have so much more to share with this audience, including, the time you spent and about getting a presidential pardon now because we think you've done your time. We're going to show the audience or viewing audience some work that you did in the prison, because some of your work have been on exhibition too, in the art exhibitions put on by the prison around Trinidad and Tobago, right?
Yes.
Good. So we're going to show the audience that if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Andrew Douglas, and he's telling us about his trip to death row. We're going to touch on that a bit, take a break, and then we come back, show you some of Andrew's work, and we continue from there. Steele has some other stuff to share with you as well. But that, when you entered Port of Spain prison and you went to death row, they actually took you upstairs to death row. That's where you want to be.
Yeah.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed 4.5 years on death row.
How was it like being alone in that cell now? Nothing.
Yeah.
Now you're 22 years and you sentenced to not see light of day again.
Yeah. It was traumatic.
Because that it should hit home then.
Yeah.
No,
well, it hit home before.
Yeah, but I mean,
you know, that is the real moko, as they say.
Yes.
Because now you know that, hey, I could get hung. Now you know that you could die anytime. They could come and read you out. Remember, I didn't have much knowledge of how the system works. So that's how I thinking.
Right.
All right. So on death row, I started to pray. I pray, and I say, Father, well, here it is. I did something wrong. It's up to you. I started giving my life to the Lord one time, because I know that I did something wrong, and I was really repentant towards it. That's what made my transition a bit different to probably everybody else. I own up to my responsibility and had already made my peace with God, because I know the law says that if you kill someone,
chances are you have to go
get
that road.
Hung.
Yeah.
Right? It was a hard transition because remember, I want to live young. I made a poor choice. I didn't, and the intention wasn't to kill. However, I did something wrong, so I recognize that. So that was a little easier for me to make that transaction, to start to move within the system positively and repented.
I mean, it's hard enough for people who've done a non-violent crime to end up in prison.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you? Being in prison, not just death row, but being incarcerated.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, you know, I recognize I was wrong. I was more remoter. Naturally, I'm introverted. I mean, I can be extroverted because of my experiences now. So I'm more used to pull to myself and analyze things. I used to read a lot. I love reading. Back then, I used to read, right? So reading and getting inspiration from books, and, you know, had encouraged me to make that little turnaround. Most of the books I used to read were more spiritual books. I started looking to find myself. I started checking myself.
So you stayed on death row, and
4.5 years.
You appealed, you appealed the sentence. Your lawyers did that.
Yeah.
And then, how long you stayed there for? 4 years.
4.5 years.
4.5. And then what happened?
And then I made a promise to God.
Where you tell God, boy?
First, I asked, well, by that time, I've already started making my transition into transforming myself.
Right.
Whether God say be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I started to cleanse my mind, and, you know, I asked for forgiveness, and I made a promise. I said, Father, if you take me down from death row, I promise that I'll walk that straight and narrow path, and I promise to help other people. You know, not make that same mistake that I made. I'm still doing that today.
Right.
When I made that promise to Almighty God, within that same year, I came down from death row. Another promise I asked, I said, Father, your word say that to be baptized and be born again, so I needed to get baptized. At that time, the Baptist people were coming into the prison service. I just needed to get baptized. So I got baptized. One of the things I recognized when I got baptized, I was out of 22 men back then, I was the first person to get baptized, the first person to go on the bus, the first person to come off the bus, the first person to get a visit when Raymond. So I started counting my blessings. I started to see my favors. Still seeing favors up to this day.
Let's go to a break. And good morning to you those just joining us on Facebook and YouTube. Donna, Ronnie, those of you from Southwest region, thank you very much for taking the time to join us. I hope you're learning something from this journey. When we return after this break, so now we'll go to video B and show some of Andrew's paintings, and we'll go back into what Andrew been doing. He did some postcards as well. Steele has something for you as well too. So, and then we have to hook up with some folks. So let's go to that break. You're listening to Dependency. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back.
Morning. Listen now. I noticed something out. Them new people are never be roadie. Where's that? Girl, the man is passing up and down in front of here with a set of woman.
I really noticed some woman living there, And they can't even say as much as good morning.
Well, listen now. I wonder if it's human trafficking. You think it's that?
So, how can you spot and identify perpetrators and victims of trafficking? Many victims are found living and working together in the same place and sleep in shared and inappropriate spaces. Victims work excessively long hours. They often sleep in the daytime and work long nights. They are often escorted everywhere they go and may appear to be malnourished. They may show signs of physical abuse, drug and alcohol use, and may also appear withdrawn, fearful, or intimidated. Victims who are migrants are often not in possession of their identity or immigration documents and have irregular immigration status. Perpetrators can be male or female and may appear to be managing or controlling the victims. And they may even at times appear to be the victim's best friend, boyfriend, or employer.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago, through the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, continues to develop and implement effective policies and procedures to prevent and suppress human trafficking. To date, the National Task Force has developed 2 national plans of action against the crime of trafficking in persons. Trinidad and Tobago adopts a 4-pronged approach in its response to human trafficking. 1. Effective identification of victims and witnesses. 2. Prevention of human trafficking. 3. Protection of victims and witnesses. And 4. Prosecution of suspected traffickers. In the Ministry of National Security, we established a specialized unit called the Counter-Trafficking Unit to lead and manage Trinidad and Tobago's response to human trafficking. The Counter-Trafficking Unit works closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Immigration Division, and international law enforcement agencies to aggressively and proactively investigate and prosecute suspected human traffickers. Human trafficking is a serious crime. Rest assured, the government of Trinidad and Tobago and its agencies remain committed in the fight against human trafficking and will respond with immediate effect when the need arises.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
A really amazing conversation with Andrew Douglas this morning. And thanks again to those of you who are continuing to send your comments and your well wishes on YouTube and Facebook.
And those of you who are on YouTube especially, please, I'm asking again, could you like and subscribe to our channel, because we're taking this YouTube channel to another level, folks, where you can even join privately as well and have your own private membership, and all. We're going to tell you all about that.
And have access to exclusive content.
Yes, and access to exclusive content as well. So while you're on Facebook and YouTube, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate it, and let us grow this program here this morning, folks. I don't know what happens to the time. Every time we decide to do programs like these, it's really amazing how time flies. But let's go to that art gallery of Andrew's. Let's show you some of the work that Andrew has done while he's incarcerated. He's still incarcerated, and we pray that this year we'll see him being released from prison so that he could continue his work trying to turn the lives, lives around of a lot of young people going astray today.
And that he can also rebuild his own life and his family and restore his family to some kind of order.
Andrew, I don't want to put any damp on it, but all I would suggest, start with Vision on Mission. If there's nothing else for you in the meantime, I would recommend Vision on Mission to give you that start to go forward, because coming out here on your own, partner, trust me, after 21 years, I can tell you. You see, in Trinidad and Tobago, we do have a culture of loving each and everyone regardless. We don't have that culture.
A forgiving culture.
Yes, with the people you meet along the way, some will understand, some won't. And they will spare no effort to let you know that. Yeah. Keep that in mind.
I'm aware of that.
So let's go to that video B.
And
Short
there's
man.
some music under it, so we could hear Andrew probably talk a little bit about how that has helped you in your
So here's the video starts. Some of Andrew's work.
Acrylic, because it dries fast, and in order to smudge and to blend the colors, it's much easier for me. Yeah. However, I use many different mediums. I could mix acrylic sometime with watercolor, depending on the painting that I'm doing. Yeah, like that one you just see a toucan reflection. That was watercolor. That one on the top there, watercolor and acrylic mix. Yeah, the old antique house is a light watercolor, and I use some acrylic in between the grass. I normally work with acrylic paint. I also build houses with cardboards and stuff like that. Yeah, I build some houses.
And how has your art helped you in any way in terms of?
Art for me is very therapeutical. Yeah, it keeps me in a different mood. Like this one, it shows a little freedom. You know, show freedom, show the appreciation of nature. You know, art, I love art. Art, it keeps me really humble and real calm. Yeah? Yeah. And I do different, but my real art is abstract. I like abstract art. Yeah, I like abstract.
So what you're looking at is some of the paintings that Andrew has done while he's in prison, and some beautiful work, real professional. These would sell a lot, Andrew, for a lot. Trust me, and you know, and my remember when Sketch was here too.
Yeah, somebody was saying Sketch could start a business, he could build models, and he could sketch stuff, and Andrew could paint it, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is beautiful.
This one is my latest. I did this a couple of weeks ago. I use a different acrylic, and I use there's this sticky glitter. Yes, I shape them out and create a few clothes. Yeah.
You know, I can imagine how this can work on your mind, and you look forward to doing this.
Yeah,
you know.
When I come from the studio and Rise Maximum Radio, and I go inside. That's what I do. I try to make some card or do some painting to keep me, you know. Yeah, that's my relax. Wow. Try to go a little tribal this year.
Look at this.
Yeah, did this a couple of weeks ago too.
This is Wakanda inspired.
The prison offers this kind of instruction as well. I don't know if Ms. Agard, you want to talk a little bit about the programs?
As we're seeing these paintings here, it wouldn't take him long, probably, Andrew.
Yeah.
One night, 2 nights.
No, not even so long. A few hours, I do 2-3 paintings. I paint fast. Once I know what I want to do, it does just happen. So while one drying, I'm working on the other one.
Yeah, so we've seen these pieces over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and already when officers have seen these paintings, they want to purchase already.
I love this one.
Yes.
Freedom.
I love that. Yes. Somebody is asking if these paintings are for sale, Mr. Igad. If a member of the public, Mr. Steele, and a member of the public wants to purchase, how do they get in touch with you all? if they're interested
if
in...
they
in-
want to purchase
Yeah.
anyways.
Arlene Bryan Swanson said, would love some artwork, please. Great work.
You know that there's an annual exhibition that goes around to different malls and
Yes.
stuff.
I think recently Andrew was
At the Archbishop's house here, at the Archbishop's house, we had an art exhibition, and I sent 23 cards, postcards, all those.
That's a beautiful card. So Mother's Day coming up, he would have cards for Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, Valentine's.
I do the calligraphy as well.
Right. So we have someone holding to speak with you in the meantime. Andrew. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Garth.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Pastor Kelly.
Yeah, Pastor, I heard the voice. Good morning.
Good morning.
Pleasure and a privilege to hear you, my pastor.
Yes, it's a privilege to be here. And I was listening to your conversation, but I think one of the things is you did not mention that your son was also, your only son was also here.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
getting
yes,
to that.
Pastor, we were going to touch on that, but we just wanted you to say, a few words to Andrew before to be run out of time.
Sure. Well, what I want to say, I want to thank God for Andrew, because now Andrew is the pastor of the Way of Holiness at maximum security prison. And we have been a part of this ministry for 25 years. And I want to thank God. And I must say that his journey is one that my prayer to God is that God would give him favor. Because I believe that his time has come. I believe that God wants to even allow the hearts of those who are looking for him today to recognize that this is a young man who has paid his dues, pays his dues to society, pays his dues to God by repenting. And if you get to understand this young man, it's not just what he's saying that's coming out of his mouth, but his mind is totally renewed. When you see that he's an example of what a man of God would be in a prison system. Because when you're in prison, if you're serving God, a lot of men look up at you because they can see the transformation. And you can see the transformation of his life as a man that has God representing God, and is a wonderful leader. When we take people in to the prison and they see him, they always ask if he's working there. They never believe that he's incarcerated also. And as his pastor, I would recommend him as a man who could come out into society and be a blessing to many young people and many elders too, and a man who could represent God. When Andrew went in, he was one man, but he's coming out another man.
So, so from coming from your recommendation, Pastor Kelly, you hope someone will be listening this morning that we can have Andrew Douglas released into society once again and try and help rebuild this nation.
Of course. And as I said to people, and the people who have committed crimes and the people that God is going to use to build and to restore this nation, we need them. We need them to be a part of what's taking place. We need them to bring restoration. Even as we listen to what he has to say, you're understanding the culture of crime. You're understanding what's going on. There are areas that we do not know about. And when God remember God took Moses. Moses was running. Moses killed someone. And when Moses killed someone, it's the same person God used to lead the children out of Israel.
Correct is right. Pastor Kelly, thank you so much for spending a little time with us. And I know you will be with us again next Sunday. We will speak with you. So thank you so much. All right? Take care.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Pastor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
God bless you.
All right. Yeah. Right. So, folk, that was Pastor Wilma Kelly. And let's go, Steele. You have something, as you heard, Andrew also is a broadcaster at Rise Maximum Radio. And despite the challenges Natasha and I had in the beginning, It's producing talent now. Thank God for that. And hey, God don't sleep, you know. And I hope that. Anyhow, still, before I put myself in trouble here, let's. What we gonna hear? Still, tell us what we gonna hear now.
Well, one of the things that Andrew Douglas does, he's our pastor. he does a morning synergy every morning between the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And you're going to hear a snippet of his introduction to his program, and just a short, hear him in his element.
Now, before we go to that, Andrew, as Pastor Kelly mentioned, you lost a son while you were in prison.
Yeah.
Right? After we play this, you'll touch on that.
Okay.
Right? So let's go to this, what you're hearing now. Mr. Steele introduced it. Let's take it in.
Morning to all who are locked on to Rise Maximum Radio by extension, the Morning Synergy. Once again, good morning to all who are locked on to Rise Maximum Radio by extension, the Morning Synergy with yours truly, A.D. Theme of the topic, love your neighbors. And yeah, we all know how that goes. We know that there are difficult people, to deal with at times. And, it's really, really hard, to go through some rough spells with your neighbor or sometimes your family or your best friends. Yeah, we all go through our moments. We all have our times. We all have a story to tell. And sometimes, we may want our own space and, people around me not to understand that. And, they're doing their own thing and sometimes it reflects on you. But, one of the things that is that I practice is, even in these situations with, your neighbors and probably noisy or what have you, sometimes, if after like I go on, let them know, well, hey, certain hours, people want to sleep, stuff like that. And they continue, I use them to strengthen myself, yeah? Yeah, because, everybody different. Sometimes you got to put yourself in other people's shoes to understand what they're going through. Yeah, and then in that way you could empathize or sympathize with them in so many uncertain terms. It's not easy, to know that, well, you have people or neighbors or friends or family or what have you, and it comes across as if they're nagging, noisy or disrespectful in so many ways. And sometimes people really don't see themselves. But all in all, the lessons today, love your neighbor. So in spite of, it's a commandment. God says to love everyone in spite of. And it was mentioned here that while it is difficult to love everyone, it's possible to treat others in loving ways as Jesus works in and through us. God will supply the wisdom and ability to do so as we seek to live out our identity as His people. So, you're going through these trials and these tribulation with a neighbor or a friend or a family or brethren in your cell or what have you, That's what I say. Once you have that, you having that relationship with God, God will supply your wisdom and ability to do so as, as you continue to seek to live out your identity as His people, So that means, He has separated. The word of God says, many have received Him, to them He give power to become sons of God. So if He's a son of God and you have these little situations going around with neighbors or friends or cellmates or what have you, family as well, He will supply you with the wisdom and the ability either to ignore, to tolerate, or, to go to the person gently, softly, passionately, and, speak to them. And sometimes people listen, or sometimes, people go through their own thing and they may not want to hear that, and that's their way of acting out. So like I say, sometimes you just have to put yourself in other people's shoes.
All right, so that was, what is the name of the program, Andrew?
Morning Synergy.
Morning Synergy on RMR.
On Rise Maximum Radio on Mondays from 8 to 10, and Tuesdays from 8 to 10. On Wednesday, there's a session with the women, 8 to 10 as well, Morning Synergy, Gospel. As well as Thursday, 8 to 10. On Friday is for an hour, 8 to 9. There's an officer who render his blessings from 9 to 10.
Nice.
Now, Natasha, I forgot, in his bio, he's also an ordained minister.
Yes.
So this was just one of his slips, and as he said, he's on from 8 to 10,
from
the morning
9
synergy,
to
the
10.
gospel. And Andrew has a way of putting forward that gospel. He has a lot of listenership on the outside. Sometimes you go on the cast and you will see over 20 people, and a lot came from, across in the States as well. Now, you were flipping through the pages there of his bio, and I'm seeing that you were just flipping a lot.
Yes.
And he has done all that through programs and industries, and programs and industry has and still has, they are doing a lot into the rehabilitation of inmates. So we have to, always talk about the programs department. They are working really, really hard.
Yeah, and Andrew managed to get so many qualifications while in prison.
Yes.
And this brings me to a point, but we'll get on that in a while. We have a surprise for him as well this morning. Those of you who just joining us, you're listening to Andrew Douglas, and he's speaking about his time spent on death row. He was sentenced to death at the age of 22, but it was commuted to life, and he's been in prison since for the last 34 years. Now, we have someone on the line, Andrew, that I think you'll want to hear from too. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You recognize his voice, Andrew? Life, and he's been in prison since for the last 34 years. No, sorry. We have someone on the line. Go ahead, sorry. You recognize
my mom?
Hey, Mom. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sweetie.
Oh.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is not Sweetie. And Sweetie on the other side of the mic. Sweetie and
Oh, dear. Oh, Lord. Well, not everybody's sweetie.
So you are the mother of Andrew Douglas.
Yes, I am.
How do you feel hearing your son this morning?
Oh, dear. I tell you, my stomach in a mess. It's trembling and shaking. It's nervous. All that.
You're nervous?
Yes, I am.
How do you feel hearing your son this morning? Tell us, when this happened to Andrew, what state did that leave you in?
Well, it was like a surprise. The way that I brought up Andrew, it was like a surprise. I couldn't believe it. It come like he did the crime and I did the time.
Right. So, what do you hope and pray for Andrew now, because it's been 34 years since he's been in prison?
Well, that is to tell you, I am an old woman now, and I'm not well, and I was well wishing that I could have seen him or touch him before I die.
When was the last time you saw him, Mom?
I think it's about 3 years since I was young. Yeah, between 3 to 4 years.
Right. All right, well, Mom.
Hopefully I will see him in September.
Hopefully. So once,
yes.
Yeah, but who would you like to make an appeal to now that you have the opportunity? I know once you're nervous right now, and I know once you hang up, you'll remember how many things you should have said. So we give you the opportunity now. Who would you like to appeal to on Andrew's behalf?
Well, how do they call them?
Mercy Committee?
The president, the committee, and even the people. I would like them to forgive him from their heart to him.
Did you ever try to get in touch with the family of the deceased?
I wanted to do so, and I was explained that I shouldn't do it.
Okay.
I really wanted to do it, but they say I should not. But the brother, I spoke to the brother while the case was going on, and the conversation was short because he was working with a stick ready, and he said, I don't believe his son did that. But I know he is guilty, and he have people that push him into it because he grew up a nice person, and after a certain age, after man, it was out of hand. He got a new father, and that father was telling them how to do crime more than once. He heard them well, and I couldn't hold him back again. He got big, and he got rough with me at that time.
Right.
Those times when he was rough with to me because I wasn't giving him his own way. No.
Yes.
He got a lot of licks.
Yeah. But have you seen how his experience in prison has changed him?
Yes, and I believe he in prison, I believe is God doing. I believe he is one of the chosen ones that we have to edify the younger ones. You know? I believe he is there for a purpose and a reason, but then I need him too. So, I don't know how this will work.
In the meantime, what would you say to the young people listening to this program this morning?
I will tell them take a page and live good, try to keep away from crime, and if nothing else, listen to the parents. The parents can be wrong. I went on my knees and begged my son. You understand? So, I telling the young ones today, don't go on their knees like me. Listen to the parents.
Thank you so
Don't
much.
let the parents go on their knees. Let them listen to the parents.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Andrew,
Ma
you have
Douglas?
anything you want to say to
Andrew,
Yeah,
yes.
Mom, I just want to say sorry, Anna.
It's okay. I still love you. You're still my son. And I will always love you.
Yeah, Mom.
So you don't have a problem.
Love you too, Mom.
Anything I do for you. Okay?
Yeah, Mom. Love you too.
Okay.
What you wanted to say, Andrew?
No, well, I just want to
I don't think you
tell
should
Mom.
say it because yes, yes,
No. Let
Just
him
want to
say
tell
it.
you,
He says-
thanks for just sticking there for me and being there for me, correcting me when I went wrong and I realize.
Well,
Realize where I went
you
wrong.
just gotta get burned to learn.
Yeah, Mom.
You know, you gotta get burned to learn.
But thanks
and
for
you have
still
to pay
sticking
for
it
your
out.
wrongs, so.
Thanks
But
for still.
it's done happen already, you can't turn it back.
Yeah, thanks for being there for me still. I appreciate
Okay.
you. God
All
bless,
right.
Mom.
Mom,
Thank you.
thank you
And
so
you
much.
blessing, yeah.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
joining us, all right?
Okay,
You
thank
keep
you.
good.
And thank you for having me.
You're
You're
welcome.
most welcome.
And we'll be in touch,
Take
all right?
care. Take care.
All right.
You will see
Okay
him
then.
again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. That was the mother of Andrew Douglas. Andrew got a little teary-eyed there. It's understood. Shortman, could you go to the video? See, now we some cards. We have some postcards from Andrew. Andrew, you can blow your nose and don't get We understand his mommy. We
Emotional.
understand
Yeah, I love
his
Mom,
mommy. You
love
know,
Mom.
Mr. Steele, how you feel about this program this morning, boy?
You know, I just always say that I met Douglas all the way back in 2004. And when we met him, as I say, a well-respected, well-mannered individual. Sometimes when you hear his story, when he's telling you about the things that he used to do, and you know the person who he is today, sometimes you feel that he make up somebody's story. You understand? We view him as a gentle giant. Sometimes, as Pastor Kelly say, most of young people who come into the system don't even know sometimes they believe he's an officer, the way we care about himself. And when we talk about rehabilitation in the prison, Douglas is the face of rehabilitation. The way we care about himself, the way we do things in a particular way. And we like to always, as I work with him every single day at the radio station, show him that the person that he become, he deserves a chance.
No, we look at one word, discipline. And since we have known Douglas come in to work every single day, and I would say work at Rise Maximum Radio, he has that discipline within himself. Punctuality is one. He knows his program is on for 8. Douglas, will come 2 hours before. Who does that? He will come and sit downstairs 2 hours before. His work ethics is on point. And he always tries to be like the father figure to everyone in the radio station. Anyone that he see that is straying, he will pull them aside as that father figure and talk with them. So you're seeing a person with change. You're seeing a person being rehabilitated. So Douglas, as Steele said, a gentle giant.
Yeah. And one of the foundation members of Rise Maximum Radio too.
Yes, indeed.
One of the first graduates.
Indeed. Yes. And I'm noticing his very excellent mic technique. I'm seeing the product of what we try to instill.
And God, you also know as well breakdancing. Come on, it cannot.
Yes, boy.
Everywhere we go,
yes.
He has
to do a breakdance. Yes. I know.
Yes,
that was part of it. And Andrew, you lost a son to violence while you were inside.
Yeah. So now I am not only a offender, I'm also a victim. And that is vast in my life, in the sense that now I understand what victims feel. I understand what the victim had felt. I'm also a part of victim and offender mediation program, Sycamore Tree, in the prison. It has yet to be continued because since after the COVID, everything had slowed down. However, I was doing that even before. Mediation, victim and offenders, telling them sorry, because sometimes people just want to hear, well, why, what was the reason, and they may not hear it from their victim, but they just want to hear sorry. So me losing my son had, sad to say, but it had opened some doors in my life in respect to understanding what people feel and what they go through when they lost a loved one or when they are offended.
And he was stabbed.
He got in an altercation with another guy, and the guy stabbed him, and he died.
So where's that guy now? It'd be interesting to know.
In prison?
Is he in prison?
I don't know where he is now.
Serious?
Yeah.
All right, let's leave it there. Let's take some calls for you now. 622-3937, 622. You can join us. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. Are you going, sir? Can I have your voice?
Not quite.
No, sir.
Okay, this is Officer Samuel.
Oh,
okay.
Mr. Samuel. Good to hear you, sir.
Yes, man. It's nice. It's lovely to hear you on the radio, man.
Yeah.
One of the things that surprised me, I learned something about you this morning, that you are ordained minister, right?
Yes,
and I know you're very strong in the faith, and I have to say, Mr. Sinclair and Natasha, one of my greatest wishes is that before I leave the service, which is not too far from now, is to hope that Andrew gets a presidential pardon, right?
Yes.
Because he's one of those fellas, I think the officers would agree with me, is that Douglas is the kind of person that you could turn your back on a habeas with him, and he's not going anywhere, right? And I must say that Douglas has never given me any problems as an officer over the years, nor have I ever heard any negative comments about him, right? I would like to say before I leave, and I might get into some hot water for saying this, but I really hope that the Mercy Committee gets their act together and send this man home, right? Because he really, really deserves it, right? He has paid his dues, and definitely he's one of those that I will look forward to meeting on the outside, maybe go out, get a drink or something to eat, So I look forward to your release, Andrew, right?
Thank you, sir.
And I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best. Yes.
Thank you, Officer Samuel. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
sir.
listening and for giving Andrew some inspiration this morning, all right?
Okay, my brother. Okay.
Okay, so take care.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the lines. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, God.
Morning.
Morning.
God, I'm just listening. When I heard his mom, God, I am just in tears.
Oh, Lord. We understand, ma'am. We understand. As a mother, you would understand too.
I'm just an adopted nephew. He's good, but oh God, it's just too much.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you wish Andrew all the best, though. And
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I do. Because I'm here and all, he really deserves, Okay.
All right, my
you,
dear.
Mom.
Thanks
very
a lot,
much
right?
for calling.
Take care. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. God,
Morning.
I'm not into your crew there. I want to say more to Andrew. Andrew, this is Sayachel. I just want to congratulate you on the work that you have been doing. And I also want to say that you have been a model in me. And I wish you all the best.
Are you an officer as well, sir?
Used to be.
Oh, okay. Former. All right.
Thank you, sir.
I know that you for quite a while.
Right.
Right, and you have been a model in me.
Yes, he
So
has.
I wish him all the best.
Okay, officer, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Yes, Garth and Natasha.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good day to you.
Yes, sir, go
I
ahead.
didn't get to. I've been trying to follow you on YouTube and stuff there. I didn't hear what was Andrew's conviction about. However,
Miss a lot.
I hear what the officers who currently in the system is saying.
Yeah, at the age of 22, he was convicted of murder.
Yeah, I got all of that too.
Right.
Andrew, I'm a green machine.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. And it's amazing that you went to that school. And because there was fellas like you.
Yeah.
Real bad before you too.
Yeah.
Just before you came. Some of these fellas, and it was in the 1990 insurrection too.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
But these fellas, and they held a kind of understanding that although they were misbehaving, they didn't fall into the crack. And I wish you the best. But I want to just ask you one question.
Sir.
What would you say is the one reason why they have not commuted their sentence? What would you say is the one reason? Or two reasons?
They did.
They commuted to 75.
I mean, why did they not setting you? Why haven't they given you a pardon?
Right.
Okay.
well,
What would you say is the one reason?
I can't answer that, but what I could say is that when that door opened, nobody can shut it. I just leave everything in the hands of God, because it make no sense if fussing fighting. I doing what I have to do, and when that door opened, I give God all praise and honor and glory, and I will still continue to do what I'm doing. So,
all right, my last quick question.
Yeah.
My last quick question: what is it like just having to live in the confines of like maybe you're living in an area there which is about an acre land or something. What is it like after you were free for 22 years of your life and you live within the confines of only about an acre or something movement? What is that like?
Okay,
All right.
okay, I understand.
Have a good day, fellas.
All right, yes.
Okay, I
Andrew, hold on.
understand.
Hold on. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah.
Like the two previous caller and mother.
Take off your radio, caller.
And I am saying to you that we are very, very emotional this morning, my husband and I. And the thing about it, to have a 22-year-old accepting responsibility, he he accepts what he did was wrong. And so he should really be given a pardon, presidential pardon. And we are praying for him that he will overcome and continue to face this world knowing that God has forgiven you or have forgiven one when they accept forgiveness for others.
Yes, ma'am.
And themselves. God bless you, Natasha, and your darling husband. I forgot his name. I'm so emotional.
It's Garth Sinclair. Yeah?
Garth Sinclair.
Yes, ma'am.
You all are doing a tremendous work. And God will continue to bless you all and keep this nation informed.
Thank you,
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
I want to say God blessings to everybody here, including Garth and his wife.
Morning.
And may God continue to help you all to is a lot of work. To really continue in the vein that you all are going and make improvements. The gentleman there, I always wanted to learn art. I am a professional picture framer, and I always I was looking forward to getting somebody to teach me who, the aura, and as you people say, my blood meshing with yours, and this is the feeling that I get this morning from this gentleman.
Oh.
I would like to get in contact with him Because all I'm seeing right now, I mean, I'm a spiritual person, so all I'm seeing, and I think I'm in position to help, is that God bless his situation, that he'll be able to have a school to teach young ones.
All right, sir. If you
So
listen,
if I could give you all my number off air, so that he could get it, and later on in life he might be able to contact me, God's will.
all right, here what to do for me.
We have a conversation.
Here what to do for me, no? You could call 622-3937 and leave your number with the security, and we'll get it when we finish the program, right?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hello,
Is
good
there
morning.
What is the best way for persons to contact us?
Yes, I was just about to ask Mr. Steele or Mr. Gal. If someone wants to contact you all from what they're hearing here this morning, and apart from the art exhibit, what number do they call?
Well, the general number now at the prison service through the welfare department.
All right, you'll give us that before we go. All right, hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Blessed morning to everyone on the panel.
Morning.
There's a philosophy that a lot of men abide by. It's called a Stoic philosophy, Stoicism, where it teaches that a man must always be prepared to take accountability for his actions. And I think that is what is so powerful about this story with Andrew. Even at that tender age of 22, because you could have seen, he said, even then, even when the judge or the magistrate would have given him his sentence, that was just like the formal application of it. But he took accountability for his actions. And Mr. Andrew, I just want to tell you, continue being strong. As a young man myself, your story is very inspirational. As a minister, you would know about the story of David. And they said that a major part of why I gave David was David took accountability for his actions. And I think that the powers that be could really see that you would have taken accountability for your actions and grant you the pardon that you well deserve.
Thank you.
My brother, well said. Thanks a lot. All right? God bless you. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, folks.
Morning, ma'am.
Listen, this is the very first time that I miss not seeing. Because I'm always saying I'm contented with radio, leave radio as radio. I don't want to see anybody, but I really wanted to see this gentleman. He sounds so clear,
You will be tired till all the old people get with the program. Be tired, please, all you know.
When I tell you about an old crooner, they don't come better than me. I really would like to see this gentle giant that spoke here. Listen, he sounds so healthy and clean and forgiving and everything, Yes. But one thing I'd have to say, I'm not blaming anyone. And this is for anybody who is listening, who is in a position like that. Downer should have allowed him. I believe that. And if he get in there and he made mistakes or whatever, then. But with the discipline of sports and the accolades and so on, because him being a good footballer, you understand?
Yes.
Downer should have used better sense than that. But listen, my dear man, how old are you now?
I am now 55 years of age.
Okay, give thanks.
Came in at the age of 22.
Oh, my goodness. All right. But that's how it is. And I am just so grateful to hear your story. It is absolutely moving. Continue doing what you are doing and stay clean and healthy as you are.
Thank you.
You're
I will.
most welcome.
Okay, ma'am. We just have about time for just one. Maybe if you could come in. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Sean, man, if you're listening, come back to the studio, please.
Hello.
Good morning, Garth and Natasha.
Morning.
Beautiful people you are.
Morning.
The work that you all are doing, I don't know. I must thank you all for the courage and strength that you all have to continue this work. God.
Yes, sir.
Master David, Master Children. People don't understand what slavery have done for what, the damage they have done to the psyche of our people, have children and them mastermind them and lack of fatherhood, right? And what it has done to the psyche of people. All other societies take it.
the Jews at 14 years, he passed the bar mitzvah, and they have people to guide them and that sort of thing. Our fathers don't know what is fatherhood and how to guide our children. And the critical times of their life between the ages of 14 to 18, when they need a boy or a man, and they're looking for that direction and support to make them a man. A woman can't bring up a man. A woman can't do that. It's a male to do that. And we lack in that in our society. I hope that someday our men would turn around and see how important it is to make a boy a man, right, and improve the society.
Thank you, caller. Thanks a lot. All right, folks, that's where we have
Short
to leave
man,
it.
come back to studio, please.
Yes, because we have 1 minute before 12, and it's important for us to hear the news as well. But, folks, I'm going to beg the Commissioner, Ms. Steele and Ms. Agard, if we could include Andrew in the next trip. You know, you never know if we could get that organized, and because next week we'll be back. Steele and Agard will be back with us, and we have a young lady coming in. Both of them work at RMR.
Yes.
And it'll be nice to see them sitting side by side. So we'll tell you about that, because I see lots of you calling here still, and unfortunately we can't take your calls. We have news coming. Aren't you any final closing remarks for young people listening to you right now?
Yeah, well, I just want to tell the younger people that my transition started with Christ. I'm not saying that but I just said my transition started with Christ. Without Christ, it would not have been possible for me to be here this morning and sharing my story. Not that I shoving Christ down anybody through. I just saying about me, right? And the word of God says, as many as receive him, to them he give power to become some sons of God. And because of that being a son of God, he will guide you, he'll keep you, he'll protect you, he'll cover you, shield you, and you'll find a lot of favors in God. All right? And I'm a perfect example to God's blessings upon my life. Okay? So you guys, crime, stay out of it. Don't pay. Gangs, stay out of it. Or too much of our young men dying. If I had the chance or the opportunity to turn it around, I would not have been here under this condition. But to God be the glory that he have shaped, molded, and encourage me to encourage you guys. God bless you all.
Before you go, the number for the welfare department?
The general number is 6120308, and they will guide you along the line.
All right.
So just ask for the welfare department and they will put you along.
Yep.
612
0308.
0308.
I'm putting it
That's the
in
general
the chat.
directory.
All right. So, folks, that's it for us on this edition of Dependency. We thank Commissioner Deoprasad Ramukta, the executive, and also Steele and Agard for making the trip here once again with us. They'll be back next Sunday, God's willing, with another very interesting interview. Stay tuned for that. Natasha,
Thank
Gary,
you very much.
everybody else, thanks, officer.
Thank
you
you
very much. God bless you all. Have a safe and wonderful week.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
TNT, we are back. I-95.5 FM, Red 96.7 FM, and W107.1 FM.